Hi, everyone. Welcome to the July 29th, 2024 Library Board of Trustees meeting. Let's get started. Is there any correspondence? Public comment?
That I can see.
Okay. Did everyone have a chance to look at the minutes from the prior meeting?
Yes.
Any thoughts, questions? Okay.
I move we approve the minutes from the June
Yeah, June 17th.
17th meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You have to do roll.
Okay, Sarah. Okay. Yep. Sarah.
Aye.
Stephanie.
Aye.
Mira.
Aye.
Katrina.
Yes.
Kimberly. Aye. Okay. Mira, I'm gonna wait. I know it takes a little. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Yes.
just learned
Okay.
to say aye instead of aye.
Wait, treasurer's report.
All right. In state aid, we have $24,094.22. In MMDT, we have $19,008. In our gift fund, we have $29,650.30. In the building gift, we have $28,505.02. MBLC remains at the 686,044. And it soon the town hasn't grabbed that yet. And the Barth ending statement is $1,631,650.73.
600,000 now. That's nice.
Yeah, it went up by about 200,000 over the last 2 months,
Wow.
which is excellent.
Good. Does anyone have any questions about the treasurer's report? Okay. Friends report.
None,
Right.
because we haven't met since May. I reached out to Sarah and Janice to see if they had anything, but they didn't.
Okay.
But the next meeting is August 21st, and I cannot be there, so if anybody wants to go and check out the Friends meeting, it's a Wednesday night. If anybody is looking towards being a Friends liaison in the future.
I'm not, but if no one else can go, I can go to that.
Okay.
Because I'm probably gonna do this. So, if you share the information with me, I'll put it on my calendars, or Sarah or whoever. It's just, what time is it?
7.
It's a 7. Okay, and it's here. Okay.
Yeah, local history room, right?
Okay. All right, I'll add to my calendar. It's my sister's birthday and my niece's birthday and my sister and husband's anniversary. That said, they're not doing anything that day, so almost okay.
Your calendar looks really cool.
Right, exactly. Okay. Building updates.
No update on the lead.
No more from the 35 to whatever it was supposed to get to.
No.
Okay.
We did have an issue with the gate again. This time the lock. We weren't able to unlock it from inside the letter, but we could unlock it from the other side with the key. So I told George had a locksmith come out and they fixed it. So hopefully that stays fixed. And then there was an issue again with the bathroom down here with the sewage coming out.
Judy jinxed it.
I
We just
jinxed
talked
it. I
about
was
that.
just talking about this.
So it's your fault. We
Sorry.
did have a big group of teachers here that morning,
Hmm.
and then it happened. So I don't know if there's just
Love the kids.
the case system. There's the teachers.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm feeling it with a backup for many weeks, but okay.
so
You resolve it.
weekend George Kate had someone come out to just make it, and it's been fun so far.
Did they see anything of concern when they did that?
So that's it. So neither one costs anything to us. So it's
I think we had a tracking sheet for this at one point. We should just add this to make sure it doesn't keep happening now.
For the lead, have you heard from anybody since the last time we had a meeting? Could you reach out, just check it? Okay. All right. Any questions about the building? Any other questions about the building? Okay. moving on to the printers report.
Okay, so I've worked with the MVLC, to set up on order status. What that means is every time I buy anything, it's gonna show up in the catalog now as on order, so that patrons can see a little earlier that something's on its way.
Yes.
A lot of the time we have patrons who ask, did you buy this yet? This is coming out, and so
Yeah.
now usually I did, it's just, you can't see it.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so that's
Cool.
set up now. Let's see, Eric Durbo was chosen as the new facilities director, and I think he starts next week. I've spoken with the fire department and they're willing to send CPR instructors to train the library staff. So that's under new business. We set it up for October 1st, but they're gonna need more time. Usually we close until 1, but they need more time than that. So I'm gonna ask later if we can open at 3 that day. But yeah, so they're gonna do that. I've also I reached out to other directors and I got examples of the disaster plans. So I've worked on my own version of one and it's pretty much done. I think I just want to add a few more things and then I'm gonna speak to the fire chief and
Terrific.
share with them.
Thank you, Sam.
There was no filming in July for LCTV, but there will be one in August. So I'm just waiting on Mark to contact me about when he can do our next recording. And we used the money you guys gave us to purchase 10 new computers for staff. 2 laptops, one for Mike and one for Susan, and 8 desktop computers. We're very happy with them because we don't have to wait anymore. So Mike and I and Susan, we all have our computers set up, and I think there are at least 2 set up at the main circuit desk so far. Tom from IT is slowly setting them all up for us and installing them as he has them ready. So those are up. And then he's also going to start switching out the patron computer hard drives with solid state drives. So the patrons can get it. But they're paying. So yeah, so that all came out to $10,991.98 for everything. It was a little cheaper than the $12,000 I asked for. Just because we originally, so the computers he was originally going to get, because we had to wait until the new fiscal year. By the time the new fiscal year came, they were sold out. So we found the same exact computers and cheaper.
Yeah.
So,
There you go.
yeah, it worked out. Yeah, so let's see, the rest, new fiscal year just started, so we're doing pretty
You
well.
have some money to spend.
We have money to spend.
It looks like you added in the line items we talked about.
Yeah, I added in just so that we have a list of spreadsheet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I appreciate the library trustee.
Yeah.
Component. to
Yeah,
this.
that's great.
Yeah, so like I said, we spent $10,991.98 and then I think well, we can speak about that other whole business, but yeah, that's it. The rest is stats. Anything else? Any questions?
Door count, sire.
It's a home delivery report. Looks like it's the same date.
Oh, I copied it over.
New numbers, but
I
different.
guess I saw my neighbor there twice. I was like, she did, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if we need the patron column, to be honest, like in the report.
Yeah, it's probably okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Total number is probably fine.
Yeah, total
Or
number of,
stops.
yeah, number of stops might be a better metric than the number of items delivered.
Okay.
Andy's still happy to do that.
Andy
Yeah.
seemed happy to do it last I
Yeah.
spoke to her.
She's good.
Okay,
How are the scholarship kids doing?
They're doing great.
right.
They're here all the time. I see them all the time. They're doing well. Yeah, they're doing good.
Seem to be getting through their hours.
Yep.
Good. And how's summer reading, et cetera, is going?
That's going very well. Also, it's lots of kids down here all the time.
Yeah.
It's good.
Do you have an idea of the signups?
I don't. Megan was sick last week, so I couldn't ask her by the time this was made. And Diane's been so busy.
I know when I was speaking to Megan, the rate of the numbers weren't that different, but and it was like week 1 or 2 that I talked to her and she said that she was almost at the numbers from the year prior very quickly.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful.
So it'll be exciting to hear in September what the final numbers are for that. So, yeah. Okay, Mike, you're up.
All right. I don't have too much. It's the new fiscal year, so that means Sam is ordering new books again. So we've mostly been just dealing with so we can flex it, do stuff that we gotta get. And then on the back end, when Apple has time and doing new stuff, we're still working to label all the biographies. I keep on saying this, we're almost done. It feels like the last 2 minutes in a football game. So it's like the longest part of it, but we are almost finished with that.
Okay. Any questions for Assistant Director? All right. Old business.
So, under trustee MMDT budget transfer, I did get a request from Jeff for professional development. I sent that to you guys. He's filled out an application, and wants to go to the New England Library Association conference that's going to happen in October and May. So he asked if we would help pay for that. So the total for that came out to $658.33, and that includes 2-day registration at the hotel and mileage.
So I think I think you probably don't have to ask us about this kind of thing. Like you can probably just
Nice to know.
decide. It's nice to know,
Well,
but you don't have to ask us because it's part of the budget.
Well, you didn't transfer the money for that.
Right.
Last time you
So
guys only
that we have to do.
transferred.
Okay, yes.
So I think we should
Computers.
talk
Got
about
it.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Wait, we didnn't,
Last time we only transferred the money for computers
The
and
15,000 that I'm thinking.
so I need to remember.
yeah, it was for the new staff computers. I think there was something else.
Back to the minutes.
Oh, the 15,000.
We did the 15,000
Yeah.
for the
But everything else you wanted to wait.
Okay.
12. Okay, so the remainder is,
And you've budgeted 5,000 for workshop/conference attendance and travel.
yeah. I mean, there's 14,000 remaining. I don't know if we want to do all of it at once. Sam, what would you think you need for, like, is there 500, you said, or 600 for Jeff?
Yes, 658.33. So far that's, no one else has asked for anything. I might ask for money next in like May for something, but
So this is for a while. Okay, I'm gonna look at the,
yeah, the only other thing I could think of that we might need sooner rather than later is the scholarship money.
that's what I'm wondering, if we need to just do one transfer right now, and I'm not prepped to do that at this very moment. So if we move on, I can come back to it.
Yep.
And just so I know, as I'm looking at these numbers, it's 6,000 for them.
Yes,
And what was Jeff's? Does anyone have that number?
that was 658.
33. And should we just round that up so that you have,
So 700.
Yes.
okay, 7,000? Or
No.
6,700,
Yeah.
Sorry, 67. Great, let me see what I can do.
Okay, so we'll move forward. So next on the agenda is the library policies, and I know the policy committee has worked on, looks like 4 policies updated. So are you ready to present?
Yeah. So the first one is Library of Things.
One second. Sarah, one
Can
second.
I take this at a 300 or 400, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Sarah, sorry.
Okay, no, that's okay. I don't know. I mean, any changes we made were minor. So hopefully everyone had a chance to look over the updated policies, and you can just let us know if you have any questions.
Yeah, I think most of our changes were more to the language than the content, if that sounds right.
Yes.
And the Library of Things for sure is one of the ones that we had no substantive changes to. Internet policy, I think we agreed, and we're curious if you would agree that the more we say, the better. In other ones, we were looking for redundancies and ways to change the language a bit. But in this, especially like right now, more times that we said, you might see some things that you don't want to see, but that's the internet. But we were going to link to the children's room policy in there as well. But there's no, if I'm remembering right, there's no specific children's room policy. It was more just like some information about we just wanted to make sure that whatever we link to reflects what we're saying about internet policies and how there's oversight there, because otherwise the library internet policy says it's all unfiltered. You might see anything.
Yeah.
So it's only different for the children's room. We were gonna change it to put in a link to the children's library policy. Not a specific internet policy, but just the general children's library policy. And then borrowing privileges, we didn't have any changes to, except we were gonna link to the MVLC policies and nonprofit collection box. I think Sam, you replied when we said, do they need to use the box that you provide? And it's no longer the case that you provide the boxes.
They
So
do
have
for-
to-
Sorry, go ahead,
They-
Sam.
Yeah, they have to use a certain size box,
Right.
but, and then we do have boxes that we can lend to patrons, but sometimes patrons will make their own. As long as, but usually I have to approve it.
Yes, I think the language said it must be provided by the library and that, so we tweaked it a little bit to reflect what actually happens. So, again, aside from language and kind of linking to other policies and a few places where we pulled things up, so it was kind of more prominent. Chris or Sarah, was that your? I don't think we did anything.
I have a question about the internet policy based on something that's come up in the past few weeks. I saw it on Facebook, but also my kid mentioned it to me. Are there ratings on games that are played? And is there anything about those games not being played in the room where the age is not at all? And we can't do that. Yeah, okay.
I mean, once you restrict it, you're.
I know,
Everybody
it's just like an
better.
age, yeah.
Does that fall under the, library, it's not behavior, but the conduct? Like,
Not really. I mean, I think it was because it was taking place in the children's room
Yeah,
that someone had a problem with it.
Yeah.
And I think normally Diane or Jean would say, oh, maybe don't play that in here,
Mhm.
this may not be the most appropriate place for
yeah,
that.
so they would just take care of it. It doesn't
Right,
have to be
normally they would
policy,
take care of it
yeah.
because there was summer reading and it's so busy,
Yeah.
they
They
almost
will.
missed it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I actually think in this instance, if we're talking about the same one, the person who took the picture and posted it was like Minecraft or Roblox, like in the particular, it was one that would probably be generally approved, and the particular image was a little bit misleading. Not that, we're still gonna come up with those concerns
Yeah.
as we go forward, but
I even love it, like, I don't even love these first person shooter games in the teen room, right?
Right.
And so that is upsetting to me, but I also know I don't have to, like, I can tell my kid to walk away, right? Or something like.
You could tell your kid not to go to the library.
Don't look him off.
or stay off the computers maybe. I mean, it was kind of like a strange, the picture that somebody took of the kid that was then blurred out was from an angle where you kind of had to be over his shoulder, which again, I still understand the concern of that just being on a screen, but there are many places to be that aren't right behind the player's shoulder.
Yeah, I was just wondering whether or not it made sense that, like, and I don't think that we can, but like in terms of, is this age-based game allowed in the children's room or not, right? But I think everything.
There are filters on the kids ones, aren't there?
Not complete filters, and that wouldn't be something that would be filtered out. It's more like sex and that kind of thing.
Right. Right, like my kids have tried to search words and they get blocked and they're just doing it for fun, right? Like,
They're curious.
Right.
I mean, kids are being kids.
Right,
but they're
again,
gonna figure it out.
our policy is that, I mean, a kid could go upstairs and take out an R-rated movie, can't stop them. That's every library, so.
Yeah.
Well, that's our borrowing policy. That we're
Right.
saying that anyone can borrow from anywhere.
M-rated video game or whatever, so I mean,
Right.
they could take it out and play it at home.
Yes.
Well, in the policy, the children in the library policy, it also says they shouldn't be there alone, 12 and under.
Right, that's the other policy.
Mm.
The kids shouldn't be there, company with their.
Yeah. I just have one other place to link something to. There's library things. There's a place where you could take advantage of the linking under donations. The Reuben Hoare Library Collection Development Policy will be considered. You could link that too.
Also, the replacement values listed in that
Oh yeah,
has to be changed.
those are a dead link.
Yeah,
yeah.
we don't use Aspet anymore. Actually, we don't.
Yeah.
I should add the replacement value into the website because I didn't think of that.
Yeah, can't you just be right on the listing?
It doesn't show
Page
it
on our website.
explicitly in the catalog,
Okay.
and I didn't put it on the website, but I can just add it. Website.
So link to borrowing privileges and
Yeah.
then update that.
So what are the filters on in the children's room? Like what is,
It's pretty much what the town puts on there, and it usually has Essential content. That's what.
Is it the
like,
same
website or something like.
filter that's applied to all the computers in the library, or is it?
Yeah.
So it's whatever the town's filter is across the board.
Right.
So my concern about the policy is we say we offer unfiltered access, but now you're telling me there's a filter on it. So I'm not sure this policy is
It says
accurate.
equally to all users. I don't know that it says unfiltered access to the internet.
We have unfiltered, it had unfiltered in there, we moved it, so there's unfiltered internet access, so it's,
Equally to all users.
I think that was more of a warning, so you're right, if it's not true and it is filtered or lightly filtered, but I think the focus of that sentence was supposed to be about being equally offered to all users without charge or discrimination. So maybe take out unfiltered.
So the whole filtering, if you do the training things, like starting to filter internet is a form of restriction of access to information. So it's a matter of being cognizant of once we start filtering things, that opens up a different can of worms about what people can't access and whether there's a constitutional First Amendment right to accessing it.
And this is a stupid question, but does the First Amendment right to access it always apply to the children's room too, or could there be filters only in the?
My understanding is it's like once you apply a restriction, then you can open some cans of worms to make things challengeable. So I mean, I guess the questions I have are if the town's filtering, what are the filters so we're aware of them? And I know that I know that we don't control that part, but like being aware of what is being filtered and whether it's a town decision or a us decision is a different.
Yeah, I can speak to IT about that and find out exactly what it is, because that's kind of new.
It's not like I don't remember this happening last time we reviewed this 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think it's a new thing.
Okay.
And it's mostly because they've been really, like, they send us things every week about, spyware and like people trying to, don't give up this information, and they send us trick emails trying to fool us.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there have been many towns around us who've gotten tricked by those things to huge financial implications, but yeah, I just want to make sure that
I can double check.
where we as trustees are choosing to filter or needing to make a choice, that we are aware of what we are choosing.
And that we reflect whatever is happening. Because I think unfiltered was in there and we left unfiltered. So if that's wrong.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure our policy is accurate to what is actually occurring here and that it aligns with our very strong defense of this freedom to view, freedom to read, and library bill of rights. That is replicated throughout all of our policies.
Yes, so maybe we should table this policy until next time.
That's good. Yeah. So let's go to the other ones to see where we are with them. It seems that there's, for library things policy, we talked about two things. One, adding a link, or updating a link. Does anyone have any other thoughts or questions about the library of things policy?
We had the staff that floated about lowering the age requirement. I don't know if you want to do that for some things.
Like some of them are games.
For example.
Well, game systems, yes, which I would recommend keeping it at 18 because it's.
No, I mean like risk.
Oh, right, yeah.
There's risk. Games seem pretty much
Stuff like that. Yes, but then there are some other things that are expensive, like game consoles, which I would probably recommend staying at 18.
Well, why would that be at 18 when some of the target users kids who may not have access to a game console at home could borrow one from the library?
Well, their parents could borrow it from them, but.
Assuming they have a guardian who can do so.
Yes, I mean, do we want to give some like 13-year-old, $500 piece of equipment to be responsible for?
Yeah, if they lose it, then they're responsible for paying for it.
Right.
The consequences there, yeah.
So they probably might not have $500.
I know.
Yeah.
Or they could break it, or lose it, or give it to their friends and forget about it or something. So.
What age do you think that stopped happening?
Fair point. But I'm okay with charging, you know, adults $500 if they lose our stuff.
When, I don't think it's true, because when my kids got library cards, I don't think I signed anything saying that I was responsible, but at what age can kids get library cards by themselves
First grade, 5.
without parents signing off or anything? Then that doesn't help.
I don't know, I keep thinking that, I mean, where I grew up, there were definitely people who used the library's resources because they had no access to it and their parents weren't the ones bringing them to the library. So I keep going back to like, it's a privilege to be able to own those things or to be able to pay it if you break it. But if you're a kid who's like, I'll never get access to it otherwise, and this is dangling there, it's kind of hard to
What age would you
justify. Like, how frequently does the one in here break, for example, like in the teen room?
Oh, I don't know. It probably has at some point, but I don't know. I don't think so. But it's also wrapped up, isn't it?
The Switch is like a little case.
Right.
The Xbox is not.
Also, it lives there.
Yeah, it lives there.
And it will say one of the controllers for,
Yeah, that's something that happens more often is a controllers break.
yeah, one of the controllers for the Xbox that we rent was broken up a couple months ago. So that happens.
What do you think? I mean, you have kind of your background in that sense gives you kind of a different perspective. on
Yeah,
what age
no.
you think would be.
I mean, if we're saying a kid who's 12 and above can be here and use the library without their parents, you know, using this one here without their parents being
But they're
present.
not getting, it's not gonna get lost here.
I know, but I do think there is a privilege there, a socioeconomic privilege there to kids. So then we're saying if it's 18 plus and we're saying, okay, your parent can do it, then I just know there are kids in our town
agree
who
with you.
can't do that.
Do you think 12 is the right age for that then?
I mean, 12 might be too young, but if you're saying 15 or something, high school age and above, then
Yeah.
they want to do a game night with their friends and need an extra console or whatever, so. I don't
So,
know.
okay, if we change it to 15 and then they borrow it and their parents don't know and then it breaks, then we're saying they're responsible, but then, you know, if the 15-year-old doesn't pay for it, then who does? Like, I personally like the 18 because, you know, a kid can't, you know, to say a 15-year-old can borrow it, but if they don't have their parents' permission, then who's going to replace it if it does get broken? The parent can be like, well, I didn't know they borrowed it. I didn't give them permission to borrow that.
I feel like a parent who's going to respond to that is an active parent who's going to help resolve the issue. In that case where, you know, like someone who's most likely on top of it, it is the few kids in our word Littleton who there are a population of kids that don't have access to things and they don't have a parent who's actively involved in their life. So there is a small risk because we have a small population of it and not all of them use the library either. But to say no access because you don't have money feels inconsistent with libraries, just ethos to me.
But they can use it here in the teen room too. I mean, they can use the ones that we have here. So they don't necessarily not have access.
I recognize I'm on the minority in this table but I don't think cost for us to have to replace something on what I'm gonna suspect is a rare occurrence should hold us back from
For 18,
doing
like
that.
15 and 18, you could still break it and not have the funds to replace it, so
Yeah.
that's not really a.
There are adults who could borrow it and not have funds to replace it. There's nothing to say 18 is a magic number that suddenly someone can pay to replace it if they break it.
Is there a way to line item it or put it in the budget in general, 18, whatever age?
We
that
have a
you
budget to
can't-
replace
Yeah, we're
materials.
lucky enough to even have these materials to buy in
Right.
the first place to lend out. So
Lend out.
Right, is
It's
it
pretty
an
well, yeah.
issue that people want to take things out and they're too young? Has that?
it's more of sometimes the kid wants to take it out and then we have to tell them, well, you have to get a parent guardian, and so it takes extra time. Usually it happens.
What age is that kid? What ages are those kids?
They're usually 12, 15. Yeah, it's
Like
usually
15, so
teenagers.
I understand the,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would be okay with 12 or anywhere between 12 and 15.
You make a good point. It should not be dependent on whether or not they can pay.
Yeah. And
We have money in trust to
Yes.
replace
Yeah, I
it.
mean,
If it
we have
becomes
money
a
in-
frequent
it's not like,
occurrence, then we can discuss whether we need to adjust it again.
yeah, we're not,
Also, I will say the kennel, software doesn't check for age, so that's something the staff has to do. So if we remove that, then they wouldn't have to worry about checking for age and stuff like that.
So could the age be anyone who's in Megan's room, not the little kids, but that's 12 and up, right?
Yeah.
So if that were the age, would it be a kind of a low risk trial to see what happens, and the money exists to cover it for them, for anybody of any.
I mean, if we're finding it once a month, we're being asked to
Right.
like replace this thing because it either goes missing or is broken,
Right.
then we know that our policy didn't
Yeah.
work, and that the hope that we are expanding access to kids is not offset by the money expenditure to support that. So like, I mean, there is a play here, and I am going to err on the access piece and expanding access to people who may not have access on their own versus us having to pay once every year or so to replace it.
I support that, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna look at if it does end up, after 6 months, after a year.
I mean, if it's truly not working, then come back to us and,
yeah, I mean, right now we have an iPad that's gone missing by an adult.
yeah,
And
I was gonna
she's like
say.
avoiding our calls.
Yeah. Well, I have no doubt this can happen with 18 plus as much
Right.
as it will with 12 plus. And
And it's a totally different population that I'm talking about, but if I think of my own kids, I would rather know that they have it, because then I can make sure it gets back.
Yeah.
But that's not the issue.
I don't think that's the situation that we're concerned
Right.
about, because I think if, my child brought it and broke it, then I would be having him work to replace it for you. I will pay you first so you can replace it, and then he will be working the money off.
But I only meant as an example, at age of 9 or 10, they're less likely to break it, and they're more, in the kids I know, they're less likely to break it and more likely to forget that it's even a thing, forget to return it, forget to do whatever. So that's where they would need the reminders. But if you're,
And do you have parent emails, or? I know like my phone number and email address is on my son's library card, for example. So if he borrowed it, I would know about it. But eventually my daughter's now replaced it, so I can't see her.
That's still a privacy issue
Yeah.
too, because the kids would have a right to check it out without anyone.
Right. I mean, he is I am his communication scheme right now, but my daughter's already flipped into her own community, like her own private.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I just mean in general, like,
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, we
think
only add somebody. if
no,
it's-
my kids can take things out without
Right,
me seeing it.
right, to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a.
I mean, when he signed up in first grade, he didn't have a phone or an email,
Right, exactly,
so he needed Mac.
right, but now it's. If everybody, yeah, I mean, even if, your husband, we wouldn't necessarily put them on.
I don't want his.
Yeah. So, yeah, but I mean, it's not something we recommend to.
But I think the point is, it's possible for, let's say, a 15-year-old to check out an Xbox and not, their parents not know, and, then we call them at some point and say, hey, your son, so-and-so has an Xbox, and they're like, I'm not saying that's an argument against it, but that is possible.
I mean, it's the same thing with a book. It's the same thing with a
Right.
movie. It's the same thing with an iPad. It's the same thing with the weed warrior thing.
Question to the kid that takes it out, how can we contact you
Just make sure the contact information is up to date, I guess, is one of the things.
Which should be the policy for anything that they're buying.
Okay, well, this isn't a vote thing, because it's a policy committee, it's up to you guys to kind of decide, we can make recommendations, then you can update them, and then we vote on it. So, as the policy committee, what do you want to do based on the feedback you've heard? We also don't have to decide this tonight, come back,
and you want us to take it back and talk about it at our next meeting? What do you think, Sarah?
Yeah, I think we should talk about it and then bring it up at the next meeting.
You might check with some other libraries, see what they do too.
Yeah, I'll do that if you
Good
want.
point.
Yes, so the other.
Borrowing, yep.
Again, I think, aside from the link, we changed a little bit of the language, but not the substance of the policy. There was a part that was confusing that said a resident of a town served by MVLC must obtain a library card, so we just kind of reduced that and brought it up to the front. Again, no. Yeah, and then it says the signature of a parent or guardian is required for those under 12 years of age, which I had just asked about, so. I think the only other thing we changed that is substantive is, when material is 5 weeks overdue, the patron's voting privileges may be suspended. Like a lot of it was very, this is gonna happen to you, you're gonna lose your card. My kids are still walking around with their cards and they have books under their bed from like a year. So it's a more lenient policy, but we wanted to keep it in there so that it's still harsher than what we're actually enacting will be, just as a form of protection. So if anybody saw those and has any questions or changes or concerns. And then I had sort of jumped ahead to the nonprofit collection box, but that was just about that.
I have a question about, the policy, the second paragraph. And this is going back to access and things again, but the library does not serve as loco parentis, but recognizes the rights and responsibilities of parents and guardian to determine and inform the library staff as to what material the child may use, and inform the library staff is the piece that needs to be removed in that, because that's.
Yes, to me, that's, I mean, we didn't catch it when we were doing it, but I think that's it, right? We just didn't change it, but we were like, is that true? That's kind of where we started.
Does not, the library staff has no role in that. It is 100% guardian only, and we're not signing permission forms or screening what kids can take out of the library.
So I know this is a policy committee issue, but would it be, if we change it to the library does not serve in local parentis, full stop? That's the only.
And I think you can remain in here just for clarity, recognize its rights and responsibilities of parents or guardians to determine what materials the child may use. It's fine. Like that is a parental decision and not a library staff
It
decision.
also says the child, but we didn't talk about a child before.
That's true.
I say so, like, yeah.
What materials, their children.
Their
Their
child.
children.
Yeah, let's be very specific about which child, please.
Also, not to nitpick, but the "in" should be inside the quotes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we talked about it, but only like, is that even true? But that's the case, no.
Yeah, no, if you're starting to screen and have library staff in control of making sure that this parent gave permission, you're opening yourselves up to.
Yep, and that's actually nebulous. If we even leave it in to determine what materials their child might use, it's what they might use, not what they might check out, because the parent doesn't control what they can check out. Right?
Their parent can control what they check out, but it's a
Okay.
parental choice.
But we were just saying, like, my kid can come in and get an order.
If you're allowing your kid to come independently to the library, like our children in the library policy, then as a parent, you might see what they bring home and then have a discussion of that and bring it back if you don't agree.
We brought Giles back.
But again, like if you're choosing to let your child be here independently, then you're choosing for them to see what they see.
Yes, so we can do that at the next meeting, but I think we should just change that.
Can only Littleton residents obtain a library card here?
No, you can obtain a library card if,
Yeah.
there, or usually we tell you to go to your own library and get a card, but,
Okay.
you know.
Only Littleton residents can get our library card.
Littleton library cards.
Yeah.
But it's within that VLC so that anyone from the consortium can.
It's actually anyone within the state.
I thought that was true. Okay.
They have to have a library card, which is a weird policy to me, but that's how it is in that VLC.
It's very convenient when I can go to Lexington Library right at near work.
So as it reads, it says a resident of a town served by MVLC who has obtained a library card in accordance with MVLC policies.
Yeah.
Maybe I use that card here, should.
It's the top line.
The resident of a town served.
The Littleton resident of any age may obtain a library card,
So it should say Littleton.
Littleton library card, or RHL library card, Reuben Hill library card.
Urban Heart Library.
Reuben Hill library card. Do you say library twice if you say that, or do you say Reuben Hill library card? Or Reuben Hill library.
RH.
Here, wait a second. RHL. That's how I usually get around it. Anything else?
I didn't see anything else.
Is the registration now valid for 3 years or 5 years? Three, okay. It used to be 5 once upon a time, but I remember being so frequent now.
And so we can find their address so we can get the boxes back.
All right, I don't have anything else for this, but again, maybe these are all just, we should bring them all back with the corrections, yeah. Or.
Nothing is urgent, like there's
Right.
none of these that need to be in place ASAP.
Yeah.
Like if we do it next month, it's fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Or not, sometimes we don't meet again until September. I mean, as a group. We
Right.
will meet.
Well, in a little over a month, we're at the end of the month.
Oh, yeah.
right.
I'm like, it's only July, but.
No, not really.
All right, nonprofit collection box policy.
How has this been working for you guys?
Okay. There's some groups that, stay a little longer than they should. And some groups still want to keep coming back. But as long as there's not, usually it's around the holiday time, that's the biggest issue. Like right now, it's not bad. But usually they give us their contact information, we contact them and tell them, come and get your stuff. They're pretty good.
So is there anything else you need in the policy in order to make that easier for you?
Very flexible.
Really, it's just people. People being people.
People are people. People do people a lot.
All right, does anyone have anything in the nonprofit collection box policy they have any questions about?
I do not.
Anybody there? This one we could maybe vote on?
Sure, I move we approve the nonprofit collection box policy.
I think that.
Roll call, Sarah,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Aye.
Mira,
Hi.
Chris, Katrina,
Yes,
Kimberly, I almost got caught up with all the K's names. Kimberly, okay,
we do have a number of them.
yes.
That was my question in running, right? Like when I got to change my name to it.
All right. Thank you, policy committee. Appreciate
Yes,
all
this is
this
good
work. Thank you. These conversations are important. So I'm glad to have you. Okay. Let me get up the agenda. Sam, professional development day, delayed openings.
Yeah, so as I said before, we'd like to hold CPR training on October 1st. And so we'd have to open at 3 p.m. that day. And then I'm also looking at other days for 1 p.m. openings on January 14th, 2025, April 1st, 2025, and June 3rd, 2025. All at 1 p.m.
And for those last 3, those are holding. You don't have a plan for them yet, but those are holding spots. For the CPR, which staff will be in? How many? All? Some? Everybody? Great. Perfect. Okay.
My only concern is school dismisses at 2:20 at the middle school, and so without, like, is there any way to open at 2:30, or is it just, it has to go to 3 because of the timing of training?
2:30 would actually probably be fine. I wanted extra time so that staff could actually meet. Have
Yeah,
time.
I can see the balance of the two things.
Yeah.
But I also think you're not going to get messaging out to kids no matter how much you try, and that they're gonna show up here and wonder why it's locked.
You can do 2:30. That's fine.
That's what I
Or,
think.
yeah, 2:20, whatever.
Middle school dismisses at 2:20, which is the earliest one, so
And it takes a little.
And then the closest ones.
that's why I said 2:30.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it was 2:30.
2:30.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions or concerns about these time dates? Okay. Including the change of 2:30, could somebody make a motion, please? Do we have to? Yes, we have to. Yeah, we have to.
I move that the library closes for professional development. Rephrasing. I move that the library has delayed openings on October 1st, 2024 at 2:30, January 14th, 2025 at 1 p.m., April 1st, 2025 at 1 p.m., and June 3rd, 2025 at 1 p.m. for professional development days.
I second that motion.
Sarah,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Aye.
Mira,
Hi.
Chris, Katrina,
Yes.
Kimberly. Yes. Okay, great. Other business.
I need to transfer money.
Okay.
Not to forget that. We're coming back.
Do you have it ready?
I do. Sorry. Okay, I move that we transfer $6,700 from 311 George and Rosewood Fund to MMDT for the Ray Grande scholarships and Jeff Henry's request for professional development reimbursement.
I second that motion.
I will hand you my.
I was gonna say, yes.
Yeah, I didn't get.
I will hand it over to you.
Okay, Sarah,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Aye.
Mira,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Katrina.
Yes.
Kimberly, yes. Okay, so you'll send that, you'll give that to Mira.
Here, Mira,
Okay.
I wrote it down.
I have, no, I have a trustee update. Anyone else have other business?
I have a question.
Yes.
So I don't think, do we meet? We meet in September for the scholarship kids, we'll probably need their money before them.
That's
So I know we transfer money,
Yes.
but do you want to meet them
right.
at first? Or just let me, if they finish
You
their
can go, I think you can go ahead and pay them. I know last year we tried to do the thing with Judy. I wouldn't mind doing that if we can get it together.
If we can get Judy to be with them, that would be
Yeah.
great.
Do you wanna reach out to her? Do you want me to reach out to her?
Yeah.
Okay.
With a few of us.
Yeah, happy, yeah, once, if you figure out a date with her, then.
And them.
Right.
Okay.
I know she would appreciate meeting.
Yeah.
Over scholarship recipients also.
Yeah, it's just because it's always weird when somebody needs one.
She wanted to last year, but there's other people not, so yeah. Okay. Any other business? Okay, trustee update. I have one, it's kind of other business, it's kind of a trustee update. The next 3 days, there are United Library for Learning, sessions. I don't know if I have them on my calendar, I've registered them to go, I don't know if other people have. If you have a chance to go and attend any of the sessions, if they're all virtual, terrific, go learn, bring back what you've learned. That's all always helpful stuff. There's also an email, about the Massachusetts Library Trustees Association, which is like the lobbying branch of library trustees in Massachusetts. They have an annual conference on October 19th in Shrewsbury. I went to that last year. I found it really beneficial. It is the same weekend as Head of the Charles, and I think I might be at that this year. So if anyone's interested in that, please consider going. It's great. They have food.
Do they have
Said it was
any
in October?
October 19th, yeah.
Usually they tell you what they're presenting.
They haven't yet.
They have
Yeah.
not yet. Okay.
The registration hasn't happened yet.
Ah.
I will forward that when the registration happens, just in case anyone misses the email.
They've been great in the past.
They have, yeah.
And then you meet other trustees.
It's great to talk to the other trustees.
It's even great if you can go with a pair, so you guys have to.
Yeah.
But it's
That's what I have for trustee updates. Does anybody else have any trustee updates?
I am working on my summer reading. I have
Yay.
one bingo card, a bingo on one card. I'm working on bingo on a second card. So,
nice.
Which raffle item are you going for?
oh, I don't know. I haven't really decided. I think there's chocolate, right? So
There's
I'll go for that one.
Great.
Mira has an update.
I do. So again, kudos to Megan for the YA summer reading program.
And I had-
My child who sort of had gone off of reading, got back into it because she likes the candy. And so, but hey, whatever it takes, I guess. I discovered that the Mass State Park Museum Pass works at Nahant Beach and also Salisbury Beach. So that was
Wonderful.
revolutionary. And then I went to the Dirigible Book Club last week. So we read Ceremonial Time by John
Mitchell.
and he came and spoke to us at the thing. So that was kind of fun. And so unfortunately, the next meeting is the same day as the trustee meeting,
Oh.
but it's at 7. So I lobby for a short meeting so that we can go to Dirigible Book Club.
What's the?
Continue our quorum there.
The Lioness of Boston, which is
Oh, I just listened to that. It's so good. I just listened to that for one of my bingo squares.
Uh-huh.
It's really.
So it's it's a novel based on Isabella Stewart Gardner.
Oh, love that. Oh, I've heard about that.
I have heard
That's it. That sounds great. Okay.
So September 20th.
I suppose we couldn't move our meeting to 6. Would that be too early for everybody?
Yeah, I can't make it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We'll try to.
I would love to, but I can't. I will say, I really appreciate the library staff and the creation of the grade level bookshelves for summer reading for the schools brought here. You've made it incredibly easy for kids to find what they have to do. And the staff has been really helpful for that. So I had a kid who did not want to pick any of the books and Megan nailed it. Bless her. So it was a great.
Good. Anyone else? Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
No, I'm not making.
I move to adjourn. I'm gonna keep it going.
Also, I should say that our next meeting is on September 12th, 2024, 6:30 PM. Go.
I move to adjourn.
Now I second.
All right, Sarah,
Yes.
Stephanie, Mira,
Aye.
Chris, Katrina,
Yeah.
Kimberly, yes. All right, thanks, everyone.